There are two sides of me constantly at odds. One craves a peaceful, unhurried existence, while the other can't stand staying still. They share one mind, one body, and an impressive consumption of iced coffee, but their visions of a productive day couldn't be more different. The world loves to put everything into neat boxes. You can be ambitious or present, always grinding or embracing tranquility, chasing achievements or savoring life. We're told to pick a side, but what if we don't? For over a decade, I treated ambition like a race with a finish line just out of reach, long hours, unclear rewards, and the distant hope that one day it would all be worth it. I worked tirelessly, convinced that constant motion would eventually lead me to some mythical destination where balance awaited me with open arms. I believed ambition had to be loud, that it required sacrifice, giving up rest, peace, and any sense of a normal life. I thought that if I wasn't relentlessly proving myself, then I was accomplishing nothing. Then I burned out repeatedly until even my exhaustion felt exhausted. I was running on empty, and eventually even the fumes vanished. That's how I ended up here, chasing something that felt impossible, an ambitious life that was also calm and gentle. My mornings are intentionally slow. Not because I'm following some trendy morning routine, but because my internal clock and the actual clock have never once agreed. No frantic rush, no instant email checks, no diving into work before I even remember that I am a human being with needs. Instead, my mornings begin with my dog, who demands my attention before anything else. There's always a walk, a quiet, steady stroll, often interrupted by his inexplicable fascination with a single leaf. Then there's caffeine in whatever form is easiest to get, and no matter how urgent things seem, they'll still be there when I'm ready. It's a delicate dance, maintaining the kind of stillness that preserves sanity without falling into complete inertia. I've been guilty of both extremes, doing way too much and doing absolutely nothing. I've measured my worth by productivity, only to swing in the opposite direction. Convincing myself that binging 6 hours of mindless TV counted as self-care. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But I did develop an oddly deep emotional attachment to people on a screen whom I'll never actually meet. I've learned to say no. Not in the polished boundary-setting way influencers preach, but in the awkward stomach-knotting way that leaves me feeling uneasy for hours afterward. Because when you're used to being agreeable and always available, saying no feels like betrayal. It's uncomfortable but necessary, like trying to wear white while eating pasta. It never really gets easier, but I've accepted it as a fact of life. And then there are the people. If you want a life of peace, you have to guard it fiercely. Not everyone is entitled to your time, energy, or tranquility. There are people I once loved whom I no longer see. Not because they were terrible, but because I was a worse version of myself with them. Some friendships feel like home. Others feel like a group project where you did all the work, and somehow they still got credit. Of course, I still work, but when I do, it's not gentle, it's obsessive, it's me at my desk muttering to myself, rewriting the same sentence until words start to lose meaning. It's staying up until 2 a.m. on a project no one asked me to perfect, but that I am determined to perfect. Anyway, simply because I can't let it go. I'm not abandoning ambition. I'm just rejecting the idea that ambition means sacrificing everything else. If there's one truth I've learned, it's that doing everything right guarantees absolutely nothing. And the events that truly change your life, they usually hit you out of nowhere. On an otherwise ordinary day, I was 22 when I first tried to break into the film industry. I sent out hundreds of emails to production companies. 0 responses. My big break didn't come from meticulous networking or strategic LinkedIn messages. It came because a production coordinator walked into my dad's restaurant, struck up a casual conversation, and 3 months later, I got a call asking if I wanted to be a cast assistant on a movie. My entire life trajectory shifted. Overnight. This is the part no one likes to admit. Luck plays a role. You can do everything right, hustle to the point of exhaustion, and still find that the thing that moves your life forward is as random as someone ordering lunch at the right place and time. Of course, luck only matters if you're ready for it, and it has an infuriating habit of showing up just when you've stopped caring. It never arrives when you're perfectly prepared, dressed impeccably, and holding a color-coded planner. No, it shows up when you're in questionable sweatpants, holding a crumpled receipt, and debating if you have the energy to cook or if you're just going to stand near the fridge and hope for the best. So I work. I write. I take my ambition seriously, but I also make room for nothingness. I let my mind wander rest and stop pushing so hard. I've learned that my best ideas come when I'm not actively searching for them, that the perfect sentence usually shows up when I'm not trying to force it, that nothing speeds up just because you're impatient. This applies to dating long lines at the grocery store and waiting for someone to text back. I don't wake up to notifications anymore. My phone stays silent most of the day, and spoiler alert, almost nothing is actually urgent. I've removed the digital clutter from my home screen, the noise from my mornings, and the chaos from my schedule. I've curated my environment because atmosphere matters, and harsh overhead lighting is an assault on the senses. I organize my life in a way that works for me, not for some idealized version of myself that doesn't exist. I used to think I had to do everything all at once, that if I couldn't, I was failing, that I had to meet every deadline, fulfill every expectation, and live up to every unspoken rule I'd set for myself, like I was an unpaid intern in my own life. But I don't run on anyone else's timeline anymore. The world tells you to be one thing or another, relentless or restful, driven or detached. But life isn't a binary. It lives in the messy middle ground. I still want more. I still chase big, bold, all-consuming dreams. I'm living many of them right now, but I also let emails sit unanswered longer than I once would have tolerated. I take naps in the middle of the day. I go for long walks and let my thoughts drift wherever they want to go. Sometimes thinking about nothing at all, and somehow everything still gets done, which is both comforting and mildly insulting. I used to believe I had to earn the right to slow down, that once I'd made it, I could finally relax and enjoy my life. But there is no finish line. There's only your life right now. If I've learned anything, it's that life is what you make of it. Did you catch that? You have the power to create whatever life you want. You can pursue ambition without burning out. You can take yourself seriously without taking everything seriously. You can want more without destroying yourself to get it. The world might try to convince you otherwise, but the world has been wrong before you get to build a life that fits you, and you get to decide the pace at which you live it.